बच्चे 8 हैं। थोड़ा डिले आता है ना, 10-15 सेकेंड का। हाय, गुड मॉर्निंग मिस्टर हरिहरन। टाइप करना है, बोलने से भी होगा।
हाँ सर, बोलने से ही करें।
So how are you enjoying the course? टाइप करना है ना। Yeah. So say something if you are, having any kind of confusion at any stage, you can let me know.
Sir, we have 3-4 questioning for we can tell.
Okay, I mean, see, this is also something related to to find the equivalent cost. So, sometimes we call it also as capital recovery with return also. So here you are basically investing something and then you have the return at the end. So ultimately, you have to find its present equivalent. So, so that way you find the equivalent cost, and that is the capital equivalent recovery with return. That's what the term is. Good evening, Mr. Akash. So I have discussed about the capital cost, which has been put forth by Mr. Kesav, and I have some questions which are by few participants. One is Mr. D. Upendra Reddy. So he has asked how to read the financial mathematics. So I think if one is asking the text to read, so basically you have to have some concept of basic probability and also some concept of interest and all that. So certainly we are talking about the interest factors and all, but you must have some basic understanding of mathematics, and then we have tried to cover the topics like interest, then you have the discount, and then other related topics. So reading is that you have to refer standard textbooks, and then practice on the questions, because mostly many a times you are either dealing with the interest, you are either dealing with their values at present time or maybe at future times. So these concepts need to be clear. Then the next question which have been given is that how can we calculate various ratio P by A, P by F, F by P for different interest rate? So anyway, that's a good question. So basically, these factors, there are standard expressions for it. Suppose you have to find P by F factor. So we know that F is equal to P into 1 plus I raised to the power n, where I is the interest rate, n is the number of compounding periods. So once you have, the expression F equal to P into 1 plus I raised to the power n. So since we multiply P with the factor 1 plus I raised to the power n, so the factor will be P into F by PIN. So that P and P cancels and you get the value of F. So basically F by PIN, F by P value for a particular interest rate I and for a particular period, that is n, maybe in years or maybe compounding periods. So for that, this value will be calculated. So suppose F by P in will be 1 plus I raised to the power n. So if you take I equal to 10% and n equal to 2, so it will be 1 plus 0.1 raised to the power 2, that is 1.21. So that will be F by PIN. Similarly, if you have to have the P by FIN, it will be the reciprocal of 1 plus I raised to the power n, that is 1 by 1 plus I raised to the power n, or you can say 1 plus I raised to the power minus n. So that way we calculate these factor values. So similarly, you have P by A. So you know that that expression will be 1 plus I raised to the power n minus 1 whole divided by I into raised to the into 1 plus I raised to the power n. So basically, when you have to calculate, suppose P by A, it means that is the factor. When it will be multiplied with A, it will give you the P value. So suppose if you talk about the P by A factor, so P by A in will be that factor which when multiplied with A, that is annuity, will give you the present value P. So that's how you have to understand that what will be the value of these factors for different interest rate. So when you have the different interest rate, you will have the different value of I. Suppose it is 10%, it is 0.1. If it is 20%, it is 0.2 or so. So that way, for different interest rate, you have to calculate, P by A or P by F or F by P. And we have other factors also. Then the question has been asked. Now, okay, there is one question which is on the screen, which has been put up by Mr. Hariharan V. Okay, Mr. Hariharan, you have asked, many of the problems can be quickly solved with built-in Excel formulas. Will we be allowed usage of Excel in the exam? Uh, since these these exams, Excel is nothing but there also you have the formulas and you can use it. But once you are given the factors, then I feel that you can even better use these factors, because Excel, because you have to have the interface with the Excel, because the primary aim of these courses are that you must have the understanding of the factors, how something is coming. It's not for the solution. So when you are sitting in the for a job or in an organization, at that time these softwares are they should be used. But when we talk about these courses, primarily meant for students normally who are taking these courses even on credit basis, so certainly for them using the Excel many a times is not is not considered to be very much real or very much ideal. So Excel we try not to use. We are giving you the interest rates, factor values, and there you can directly use them. So you will have the calculators, and you should know that how you to calculate using these factors taken into account. Then the next question is Mr. Akash Chaurasia. He is asking that tell me case when we pay quarterly and interest rate is monthly. Okay. So interest rate is monthly. So basically you can find the interest rate quarterly. So that is one way you can have the interest rate quarterly, and then you can do the calculations. So if you know the interest rate monthly, you can find for any quarterly what it will be. So it will be for 3 months. So accordingly you can find it. So power 3 minus 1. So like that you will get the interest rate. So that way because your payment will be quarterly, so you will have to have the interest rate calculation for quarterly. It is 4 months. So no, it is 3 months. Quarterly means you are paying after 3 months. and your interest rate will be monthly. So you have to calculate first for the 3 months, and then accordingly you will have the compounding periods accordingly, and you can calculate the equivalent values. So that is the way you can calculate. Another mm, explanation which is required, which is again put forth by Mr. Akash Chaurasia, is about the problem in assignment 5 in question number 1 and 4. Okay, anyway, that is clarified, it seems, where it has been told that the answer is basically, answer was supposed to be D, but it was mistakenly kept as A. So I think that might have been clear by this time. So that must have been clear by this time. Now you have mm, so that is the one. Key points to improve the key points to improve in financial calculations. So you see, you have to have a sound knowledge of the calculating methods. You have to have quite a transparent idea about the interest rates, interest factors. Then you must have also the knowledge about other financial aspects, like many a times we deal with depreciation. We may also deal with other factors. So key points, basically, you can say that many a times you have to develop your interest. So once you develop the interest and you read books and you solve the problems, then that will improve. That will enhance the interest in the course, and accordingly you can mm, uh, do better. Okay, Akash. So, this is about that problem where you have talked about the lecture 28, cost of credit and amortization. So in that, a problem is solved where a person is buying music system of rupees 3,000 and pay 60 rupees every month. So you are not understanding this question, and okay. Hmm. And when payment is 2% of balance, then how 43.6% comes for 20% APR? And also tell how can I find interest value for the question. So I think you have put this question on this that also, and hopefully I will give you the explanation for that by doing the calculation. In the meantime, I have you are again further asking how can we find interest and time period for those cases you have conducted similar example. Okay, so that can be seen, and even you can will have those discussions on the platform. As far as the transcripts of the lectures are concerned, that is to be assigned, and that will come, hopefully it will come early. So it will help you for the PDF or PPT covering important concepts and formula for the quick reference. So now in this case, as as I have told that you have standard formulas which are given in many cases, and then we calculate these values. So that question, I think we have to see, because the student, the TA who was dealing with that, so he has made me understand. So make me know this problem. So we will look into, and on the platform it will be discussed. No, what kind of confusion basically? You see that that is credit and debit terms. So you have something like some terminologies are there that needs to be understood, and you know that there are certainly some terms like cost of credit, and then you have other terminologies. So we'll try to see that. So what is the, yeah. So होल्ड कर सकते हैं ना, होल्ड का करने का, ये होल्ड हो जाएगा ना। हाँ, हो गया हो गया, अभी होल्ड हो गया।
शेयर करना।
ये शेयर कर सकते हैं यहाँ लिख के भी?
हाँ
क्या कर सकते हैं इसको?
शेयर
रुकिए रुकिए, अभी तो नहीं आ रहा है ना हमारा?
नहीं
देख रहे हैं वो?
आ रहा होगा सर, ब्रॉडकास्ट हो रखा
डायरेक्ट लाइव है तो इसको इधर हट जाए। नहीं उठाना ही है।
है। हट जाइए सर,
ये तो ये होल्ड यहाँ ये है ना।
होगा नहीं सर,
ओके।
हाँ हट जाइए।
दिमाग में ये था।
क्या बंद हो गया ना? नहीं फोल्ड किया था।
Yes. Am I audible? See, the rule of 72 or 114, it tells that suppose you are having one. Okay. Is it audible? What one is that? So, am I audible? Should I start? Click करेंगे।
रिफ्रेश कर दूँ?
अभी आ रहा है। Okay, so basically, see, for any interest, if you take, If suppose take the example of interest rate, say 10%. So with 10% in how much time you are going to double? So if you take that, it will be about 7.2 years as per this, this. So if you see, if you use 1.1 as the factor, so you know that 1.1 raised to the power 2 will be 1.21, raised to the power further 2, so from up to 4 it will be 1.4641, and if you go to when it's a square, it will be coming as close to, it will be 2.12 or 11. So for coming at that power as to 2, you need the factor as 7.2. Similarly, if you have to do the triple, if you have to make your investment triple in certain at certain interest rate, in that case, for that interest rate, you have to go, say, suppose 11.4. That will be for 10% interest rate. It will be 11.4. So you can see that it will be up to 8. It was 2.1, and then that will be further multiplied. You know. To with which factor, like maybe forgetting 3. So if you divide 3 by 2.1, so it will be 1.4 or so. So again, it means you are 1.1 raised to the power about 4. So somewhat, so that's why it will be close to the power 11.4 value. You are going to get this investment getting triple. So it's simple calculation. By that you can directly get it. Otherwise, you can always use the factors. So these are the factors which are making you easy. At any time, you can just roughly say that if you have to double your investment in some time, with certain interest, how much time you will get. Say you are getting 20%. So 20%, it will be for the by 72 by R, it will be 3.6. So if you look at 1.2 as the factor, 1 plus 0.20. So 1.2 raised to the power 3 is 1.728, and then you have to get up to 2. So that's why it becomes about and 1.728, and then further you multiply the root of 1.2 maybe. So that will be something like 1.1. So 1.728 into 1.1 further. So it will be something like 1.91 or 92. So for coming to factor of 2, you need somewhere close to 3.6. Sorry. So accordingly, you can directly get this calculated. You can have the idea that at what interest rate this value, at any particular interest rate, when this investment amount will be doubled or tripled. So accordingly, that these numbers have been suggested. That's the normal rule, way. You can also get it from the normal standard formula, like 1 plus I raised to the power n will be 2. Okay, we know that f equal to p into 1 plus I raised to the power n. So 1 plus I raised to the power n will be 2. So based on that, if you have a particular I, you will have particular n. You have if you want to have the learning of interest factors, you can better use the book of economy, and there are books like D. Garmo, Engineering Economy is there by D. Garmo, or Engineering Economy by Thewson is there, another book. So there are these books which talk about the interest factors in detail. So you will have the understanding about these concepts. And then there are also standard books on financial mathematics, or the concept of these interests. Mathematical finance books, you will be getting standard books, so that you can take it, that you can study to have the concept. You can even write mail to me, so that I can suggest you the appropriate books which you should study for particular topics. Okay, because everything you cannot get maybe in a single book, so you may have to refer to different books or different topics. Email ID is pkjhafme at the rate iitr dot ac dot in. pkjha pkjhafme at the rate iitr dot ac dot in. Yeah, it is correct. So just to know a little bit, uh, how many of you are also taking the course as a credit, on credit? So in many institutes nowadays, you can have the credit of this. You can take these courses as credit course, and that credit point, points or the grade which you obtain, that may, uh, you know, that may be used by you. So Yeah, that is good, Mr. Hariharan. So, certainly, it is a very interesting course in the sense that everybody, each one of us, must have, proper knowledge about many aspects, like knowledge of the interest rates, then effective interest rates. Many a times we deal with, banks, or taking loans, or lending money or getting the money. So many times we don't know that on what basis we are paying, or how what interest we are getting. So many times we say, suppose 10% interest rate, 12% interest rate, but then you see that we have understood that the interest rate, what is the compounding frequency. So that is also important. What is the compounding frequency on which the interest rate is levied upon. So by having this knowledge, then further, when you are dealing with the financial documents like bonds, credit, and you know you have shares and all that, that will come later. So at that time, if you are known to, or if you are acquainted with these terminologies of financial terms, then that helps you, to evaluate any proposal, to to decide that which option is better, whether to invest or not, how you are going to have, uh, you know, uh, a better deal, to see yourself that you are at a comfortable position, not going to have the loss, even in the extreme cases or so. Anyway, this is very much suiting to everyone, because every one of us have to manage our, resources, financial resources, and for that, having the knowledge will certainly, help us to take any decision in the future. Yeah, you are right, because many a times we don't understand the things, and that's how these you know anyway, this is a very crude fact that if you are not knowing, then certainly somebody may take advantage of your unknowingness. But then the thing is that if you know, then you can better judge. So that's what the advantage is. Like it's a similar thing that somebody is paying you now some amount, and he will be telling that he will pay you something, after 1 year. So only when you know the interest rate and its its effect on that sum which you are getting after 1 year, then only you can decide. So certainly that helps. And then also, most of the people in our in our day, well, I mean, we will see in our surroundings. So we have any way to invest our money. So that time, knowing these concepts will help us. Another aspect. No, further, as we move, so we will have now more about the investments, and then the bonds and shares and all that will be discussed, as we move further in this course. So the In the initial part, we were talking about the interest terminologies, and then we will have also something like project balance, and then the capital cost, and then coming to the finding the equivalent costs and all that. And later on, we will have the study of these shares, bonds, and credit and debt analysis. So all these things will come further. Then you have also the we will study that risk analysis also, because many a times we deal with risk in the financial transactions. So we'll talk about that those different aspects which is required to be known to us, so that those things will be there, that will be studied in future. So whenever we used to know, the best way to go with the course is also to have you know a feeling in you that suppose you are the entrepreneur. So if you start your own business, then how you look at how you deal with the situation. Suppose you have to take the money from the market, then you have to invest, you have to get the return. Okay, you have to earn something. You will be ultimately you will be owning a lot of components, you've got of equipments which will be part of your enterprise. And then later on you have to sell it. You have suppose required, so at that time it will have certain values. So when to sell, what is should be the cost, and so these if you keep that also frame of mind, then also helps you that how to earn, how much to earn, how to earn. So that will be clear to you. And then you will have other thing is what we will study in our next stage will be about the our investments which we invest. Suppose we have many terms, liquidity, and we have credit, and we have debt, loans we are taking, we have to the loan payment also, how we repay the loan. Okay, then many times we pay the loan after some time. So those things will be discussed at the later stage. It is nearly same. You can have, you know, the thing is, just you can understand that in mathematical finance, maybe you get to give more, emphasis on the mathematical aspects, but otherwise, you can have these are synonymous terms, and I think the both the courses deal with similar financial aspects, and you have the mathematical tools. So basically, you have mathematical tools which are used, and then financial matters will be discussed. So overall, you can say that they are somewhat same. Maybe many a times the financial mathematics is somewhat more it is going to take you application oriented. You are dealing with the questions more, and many a times this course financial mathematics will be related to also it can be correlated with financial engineering. So so that way there will be somewhat difference in that aspect, because there you are talking about more about taking the examples we are so that way. Otherwise, the courses are same. It all depends also that how the course has been framed. So you may have a book of financial mathematics or mathematical finance, and you can see that many of the topics are somewhat similar. But again, from the books to books, you may have some different topics. So, but otherwise they are same. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav. हम्म, आ रही है, कभी बताया, there was a query, so I have explained. So the suggestion will be in general that you refer the books on financial transactional items or those topics. You must have the concept about the shares or the bonds, or many a times what return you are expecting, how much how company pays. Okay, you will have the assets of the company, how much is the asset, and what are the liabilities. So these things will be discussed in our in the future classes. So for that you must have, so if you have a background in finance, then certainly it's well and good. If not, then you should read uh, to have more clarity when we discuss such issues. So that will be the uh, very general kind of message what I wish to convey, and then accordingly you can you can also interact. You can have your questions posted on the forum, and we'll try to sort it out. I have given you already my email ID, so you can also write from there. You can, if you want to have some suggestions. So that also is welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Hariharan. Have a nice day too. Mm, 0/200 can. कितने बजे तक है? 30, हाँ या 5:30, देख लीजिए, बोल दें. Okay, dear participants, I hope that we had a fruitful session, and I'm happy to see that you are taking interest in that sense, that you have queries, you want to learn more, so that is good. uh, Hopefully by this time you have might have developed certain concept about the interest rates and other aspects like the finding the equivalence and all that. So and now in our second stage, in the second half we will have talk about those uh, more about the investment related things like shares or bonds or so. So hopefully we will have I wish that you will have a better understanding and you will be enjoying further this course. So thank you all. Hopefully things are fine. To watch, if it is 30 is the time, so till 10 people are watching. बंद कर देते हैं. Stop.